What? Recording with my buddy, my homie, episode 55, Warren Eshpeter. And but we were just catching up, and I was around like episode 500-600, I think I started like hitting the limits of my own like indexing ability. And I always thought it was limitless because like studying for the MCAT in 2013, I memorized like 500 physics equations, and I was like, oh wow, it really is kind of limitless. But no, it's not. So you just asked, who am I talking to now? And I don't know, dude. It kind of just fizzles out. I don't know. A lot of people, clearly.
Yeah. Who's been what's been the most popular one? I know you had this series with a few of the
Dr. Malone was the most that episode with Dr. McCullough and Dr. Matthias Desmet, because McCullough went on Joe Rogan in like November of last year, and then Malone went on in December, and they were both talking about like the sociology or psychological phenomena of mass formation psychosis. And I had interviewed them both several times at that point, which I'm kind of upset about because Joe Rogan got a ton of flack. Even like the White House called him out for interviewing them, and I interviewed them like 6 months prior, and I never got like a stern talking to from the White House. So that was kind of gay. That was
clout wasn't up high enough, dude.
Dude, it wasn't fucking up. Yeah.
Joe Rogan's sniping you. He's saying who's on Tommy's cast, and then
he brings him right on.
Dude, let me tell you, as soon as MemeStat launches, it's game over. I'll be on Rogan. I'll say Tommy beat
you. You won't mention me. You'll immediately just be right there with him. You'll just join his gang.
No, I'll say Tommy Carrigan, TPC, episode 55, 59, 114, 270. I'm here.
Yeah. He hasn't interviewed anyone that's walked on the moon. And he has the ability to contact anybody and get a response.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not trying to. Yeah.
But that's awesome, man. You're doing a lot these days.
Thank you. It's getting banned from YouTube was kind of a huge kick in the dick last August, but
I remember that.
That was painful.
That was your stern talking to.
That was you're right. I didn't even get clout from that. I got like a quiet email. It was just like
shadow banned because you were actually disrupting.
Yeah. And then I literally there's not even like fanfare. You just get a quiet email that says you have been permanently suspended from YouTube. Like, thank you for using our service. And it's just done. It doesn't go out with a bang. It's just like, it's a quiet, silenced pistol in the night. They just
pillow over the head.
Pillow over the head.
That's how my grandma's gonna go.
Yeah, you're gonna kill her? You confessing?
Well, I didn't say I would.
All right, sure. Is she posting misinformation?
I don't know, dude. She could be on Hillary's list.
Dude, she might be. Do you think Coolio was?
Fuck yeah.
I can't believe
the shadow of death was a big time metaphor.
Yeah.
As I walk through I know it's a biblical reference, but I don't think he used it as a biblical reference.
Do you think he's in Gangster's Paradise? How old was he? 50?
He was 50 something. He wasn't actually 24 when he sang that song.
I don't know. Oh yeah, well, I make this 20. Yeah, what's the line?
Yeah, he was like, I forget, but he said 24 rhymed. His current age didn't, so he just went with the whole world was catfished by Coolio. If you want to talk about that,
yeah, I mean that is kind of, maybe he got what was coming to him. I don't know, man. But yeah, I mean, podcasts have been growing at a steady clip. Rumble's at like 12,000 something subscribers. Spotify's at almost 3,000. And I'm on a bunch of other ones that are just kind of like unrecognizable websites: BitChute, CloudHub, Brighteon. Just a bunch of bullshit that I have to use because I can't use YouTube and iTunes.
Well, it's like if anyone's using that, right? You're the guy, you're the podcast guy.
Like yeah. I mean, it is a good point. Like, because I've been banned from YouTube and iTunes just preemptively won't let me on, I'm kind of like forced into these smaller ponds, which maybe will like amplify the podcast.
I would think you get the more devout crew on this one, because who's on these websites, right? They're alive. Someone's using them.
There is a pulse.
And you're the soft white underbelly of podcasts, bro.
There's one thing I always joke about. Like, I have like over like almost 3 years, I only have 700 subscribers on BitChute, but I'm like, those are 700 people who I know are real people. Like, they are not bots. those are dedicated people for better or worse. Like I don't want
the highlight of the day or week is you showing up on the feed, which I imagine can't be too action packed on BitChute.
On BitChute. Yeah, I'm right in between thumbnails of like exposed like Hillary's a lizard and like George Soros caught on tape with Pope Francis like sacrificing a baby, and like in between it will be like my interview with Dr. Hodkinson about fucking whatever. So
who knows what?
Yeah, I'm sliding right in there.
I don't know. The internet's a weird place, man. It's got a lot of crevices to sneak into.
Do you think I should just start? I've actually thought about this. Could I upload it to Pornhub? Like, is there? Yeah, like, could I? I feel like
there's everyone's. Well, I mean, people my age, yeah, internet savvy people have seen like the Call of Duty montages on Pornhub or like, Finding Nemo 2.
I found that's where I found Rick and Morty. Literally, like 2017. Like, I just saw and I was like, "The fuck is this?"
Is it the ad? Was it like cartoon?
No, it was like season 1. And like I ended up watching it, and I was like, "What?" And I realized like if you want to go on Adult Swim, you have to have like an account. And I was like, "I'm not buying this shit." So I just ended up spending like I guess if you looked at like my phone bill, I was just on Pornhub for like 24 straight hours. But I was just watching like the first 5 seasons of Rick and Morty.
They're like, this guy needs help, right?
Dude, what if I got banned from Pornhub for like medical misinformation?
That would be you couldn't. Think about the
ads. There's no way you could get There's no way you would get banned, right?
Well, think all the ads. Take this pill, dick grows 3 inches in 1 day. Like,
you're right. They couldn't if they open that box. That's a legal precedent.
That's their fault. In fact, I think if those are the sort of ads that are on there, maybe you would get super like hyped up on Pornhub. They'd be like, "This is the guy. He's been banned from YouTube, so he's on the hub." Like that sounds like a Reddit, like a solid title to a post.
Yeah. Dude, maybe I should just start running ads on Pornhub. Like total clickbait.
I bet you it's really expensive. This is one of the most trafficked websites in the world at any given time.
Yeah. So that's true.
But do they run through Google ads or do they do it?
I doubt it. I mean, yeah, I don't think they could ban me for medical misinformation because that would be such a legal precedent that would be open.
So what's the MindGeek? MindGeek is the company that owns the Pornhub conglomerate with all the other websites.
That's in Canada, right?
I do think it's in.
Yeah, I tried to get on that CEO. I feel like if I had this conversation before, it was with you. Because I feel like I've walked down this path before. And the more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it was probably with you.
You should. Well, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
But you should try to get someone on who's like big in that scene, right?
I tried to get that CEO on. Maybe that was reaching too high. I've tried to get porn stars on.
Yeah. Well, maybe, bro, start with like cameraman. They have stories. They have stories.
Oh, that's a good point. Like crawl up the food chain.
Bro, and then you get the cameraman. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is hilarious," and then you get the porn star, you get the director, the casting guy, And maybe you go for some of these like small time, not small time necessarily, but the more amateur people who aren't shrouded by the corporation. Yeah. Right. The guys who are like Pornhub certified amateur. Not that I would know. I run a charity.
Yeah, but it's like the blue check mark of Pornhub though. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's such like a wall that already exists between contacting porn stars just because of how many creepy guys are like interview like I really felt something with you, and then like they probably wouldn't even believe if I was like, no, I just want to interview you. They'd be like, yeah, nice cover.
Like, what? Run a podcast. I have scientists on.
What are you talking about? We've got your IP address, faggot. Like we know you're following her. I'll be like, is she near here?
That's well, something you could do, right? I don't know if this would be a good angle to spin it, but something like a la All Gas, No Brakes. You go there and you like, maybe you don't film it for the interview purpose. Maybe you do because you're like, oh, I'm just a guy trying to do a thing. But then, open the door, get their info.
Now, does that start to, the problem is, does that start to narrow the window of people that will come on the podcast. Because like
if you get a porn star. Is the
Rogan
way.
was initially sponsored by the Fleshlight, but he's the biggest platform in the world. So people just don't even bat an eye. They don't give a shit. It'll go from, ridiculous episode to
That's
fucking
like,
geologist or something. Like,
yeah, no, that makes sense. And the musician guy, Mark Rebillet, he does a lot of like improv streams and stuff. He's huge on YouTube and Twitch, and he's sponsored by all sorts of weird sex product companies.
but I
His
feel like,
shtick is like being in a bathrobe and just making funk,
oh yeah, no, I know, I know who that guy is. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a good guy.
yeah,
Obviously, I don't know him, but it seems like a good guy. He's got a wife and a kid. Can't be
yeah.
that
He
bad.
can't be that fucked up, right? Or they're just against their will. They're there.
Oh yeah.
Bought him on the dark web. Maybe that's what I need to start doing is like Mr. Beast kind of thumbnails, but just like another level. Like I sold my buddy Warren to like a pimp in Slovenia. And it's like me, there's like a thumbnail, like a brightly colored thumbnail of like me putting you in a crate and you're like doing this or something. There's like an emoji. Yeah. And we have like a Bitcoin hash address at the top. And it's like selling my friend Warren to a snuff filmmaker.
Yeah, dude. And then it's just me on the podcast talking about the potential or shitney, dude. I'm not doing too much these days.
Jesus.
I got my passport's good for another 2 years, bro. I'm in. I got a Canadian. Oh, well, I need to renew my Canadian passport, but I got a Canadian passport. I can send me anywhere, bro.
Are you still doing meme set?
You know it.
Oh, so for everybody that doesn't know, that was the original episode you came on for, which is like kind of right as the pandemic was kicking off.
Yep.
And it was, can
Yeah.
you explain meme sat to everybody?
Yeah. So MemeSat is a satellite, the size. I think I have a model.
Like a CubeSat,
Yeah,
shoebox-
it's a
shoebox?
satellite, literally this big. It
Okay.
doesn't work well because I have a huge head, but it's like, pretty small. You could
Mhm.
fit a softball in here. It's going to space. It's going to broadcast down memes. And so I made a company back in 2019 called Let's Go to Space. Got some funding from Georgia Space Grant, NASA, a couple startup accelerator things, and we've been working with the University of Georgia, which I'm sure they're going to love the lead up to this conversation and plugging the university. Building at the University of Georgia with the free student labor there, and it's chugging. They're wrapping up. We're talking to like launch providers these days, man.
Well, one, I mean, I think the fact that I talk about how I went to UGA like every third episode, maybe that will have like they have to have thick skin now. They have to like tolerate it. You being like, yeah, maybe you should be on Pornhub. Like that's probably nothing to them anymore. They're just like
There's
this.
worse. Herschel Walker is running for Senate in Georgia.
Fuck yeah, he is, dude.
And he's, been hit in the head a lot.
Oh,
is
yeah.
my takeaway.
Oh yeah.
But I think we're the least problem, the smallest problem.
I think we are the smallest
as a
problem.
PR thing, unless. I mean, you could probably get on some pretty grungy shaker. But anyway, small satellite. It's a charity. We teach kids. We're going to beam down memes over amateur radio. We got our allocation from the International Amateur Radio Union, which was a big milestone for us because we were internationally recognized as doing this. And it was really funny because when I started trying to get that line of communication open with those guys, I think they're headquartered out in somewhere in the EU, and dude responded to me on Gmail. His avatar was a Pepe, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is in the back. This is we're gonna have no problem.
Is that the modern equivalent of like you walk into the fucking board interview and like they have the Yale ring on and you have the Yale ring on and it's like it's done. It's done.
Oh yeah, dude.
See you on the greens. You got the job. You're dating my daughter. Like
exactly. But it's much more Gen Z and scary where you join a Zoom call and some random Kermit avatar is going, sheesh.
That's a lot more intimidating than a skull and bones blood ritual.
Yeah, it's horrifying. I would
like at least it's coming with like, all right, we're probably gonna go sacrifice like a kid in the woods, but I'll get this job at Brown Brothers Harriman.
Yeah, dude, you get the Pepe on there and you're like,
you don't know what's happening
to my webcam right now.
You don't know what the fuck. You don't at any moment. You don't know what that camera's cutting to.
But exactly,
if this is Mr. Hands. If this is this BME Pain Olympics, like you don't know what's coming.
Those are some old callbacks. what's the Oh, I'll circle back to that. I'll circle back to those old references, right? Because I think you're aging yourself with these if you're trying to
I
keep with it. But we're going to be launching MemeSat fall next year. We're in talks with a couple companies, but one is relatively new. Pretty excited. Some ex SpaceX guys making a launch company, um, and they're just down on it. They don't care that I'm a charity. They're like, this will be funny. And I'm
yeah,
like, yes, this is the core of why we did it. Is it's just a silly thing to think about. It's technically difficult, very silly to do.
yeah.
And
So
here I
that's
am 2 years, 3 years later.
but you've been doing other shit in the background, right? I mean, when you first
Yeah,
started
yeah, yeah.
this, you're talking about like everything that needs to be done, and obviously there's like a ton of like red tape, and then like literally need to get approved that you're like putting this up into orbit, that you're not like a national
Yeah.
security threat. It's or like
Well, so
sabotaging launches. Like there's a lot in the background, right? That
there
again,
was a lot. So I had to become a charity. We had to go through all those hoops to get fundraising the legal way. And this is where a lot of the educational outreach came from, was satisfying requirements in our grants, but also donations. And then it takes a lot to get a satellite into space. You got to get the frequency. You got to get approved by the FCC if you're launching out of the US and you're a US entity. For some reason, the FCC is in charge of radio in space. That's just what they
hmm,
do. But now in the space realm, there was some big news recently where previously you have to have your satellite deorbit within 25 years. There has to be a deorbit plan. But with space junk and all the politics changing with Starlink, they just approved something for 5 years max. So after your mission's over, you have 5 years to bring your satellite back, and you have to prove that you're able to do that. And so when you're working with something like this size, it's it's air. It is literally air, super, super high up in the atmosphere that over years will bring you down, and some like solar wind and shit. But it's like you weigh a kilogram and you're really small. So you're not like this big sail catching air and slowing down. So it's interesting. I think it's going to change the playing field for smaller satellites used by universities and research labs and things like that, because these things are cheap to make compared to your James Webb telescope that
yeah.
cost $2 billion and took 20 years. And so it's going to be interesting. I work for a company right now that does, satellites from this size all the way up to the size of a car. But a lot of our stuff is on the smaller end for research projects before they make the big honking satellite. And so it'll be interesting to see how that changes the market and where that goes with schools and research.
And for anyone that doesn't know, I mean, and I know very little about it, but I mean, like CubeSats aren't just like meme things. It's also they're just yeah, they're not the size of a school bus. They don't cost $1 billion. It's much more of like a you can throw multiple ones up there. I mean, you're not necessarily like
Yeah.
losing the company if one kind of fucks up or something. Like it is very cool. So wait, you said it shifted from 25 years to now 5 years?
Yeah, and it's more stringent. I don't know what the consequences are. I haven't read too deep in it, but there's CubeSats up there that are doing real stuff, real
Sure.
science, real imagery. We have satellites that were like, critical in the Ukraine war for giving locations of Russian troops and armaments and stuff like that. And these are, things the size of a shoebox. There are things that take pictures and look for exoplanets
Mhm.
to kind of educate whether Hubble or James Webb should be looking over there, right? So,
Okay.
and because renting time on that sort of
It
stuff, it's a huge
is
queue and it's expensive, and so by doing it first on the small thing, you can vet out, okay, well, what's actually worth looking at?
okay.
We don't want to waste time and money, and so stuff like that. And if those things have to start going away, it'll be weird. A lot of people think it's almost directly aimed at like Starlink, where you have these satellites launched en masse, and just clogging up the sky in a sense.
Do you think that well, that's well, another thing is just, right, the gravity well of Earth. I mean, how much of the expense is just physically getting it into orbit? And, right, the smaller you are, you don't CubeSats kinda like hitch rides, if you
Yeah,
will?
so they're
Instead of like a
secondary.
yeah, instead of like a ballast or something, they'll use CubeSats.
Yeah, stuff like that. They'll say, hey, here's our primary payload. We still have this much capacity capable of being launched to some orbit. If you want to go to this orbit, let us know. And it still costs some money. You're paying for your weight, essentially. Um, but there's a bunch. All of our satellites at the company I'm at launched through the ride shares. We're never typically the main payload.
Do they do ride shares on like DoD rockets, or does it have to be something? Because I feel like those are probably like no, fuck off. Like they have no idea if you're a foreign sub. I'm just thinking like if you,
Yeah.
yeah, you
Well,
would.
so it's an American company, and we do, there's some government stuff, there's some commercial stuff, and some science university stuff. In my experience, I think we've only launched off of like pretty publicly known about rockets. I'm sure some of them have classified payloads, but it's not like
NRO or NGA or
exactly where they don't announce
they
what
don't
orbit
announce
we're
shit.
going to or like
Yeah.
how many were on there, and people are just kind of speculating.
But not only that, I mean, that's got to be a security nightmare because you don't know what nonprofits in the United States are a Russian or Chinese or Indian front, and then what if you spent $2,000 on a meme sat and you're either doing cyber warfare against the primary payload or
Yeah,
just full
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
James
yeah.
Bond,
People
sabotage
don't
the
know
launch. Why wouldn't
stuff
you?
like that. Yeah.
We do. We probably do it. That's that's why I imagine the security's not there. It's like
Oh yeah, you think it's tight, but it's like shoot, I had something to say. I'll come back to it. I forgot what it was.
NRO, publicly launched, acknowledged.
Oh,
NGA.
so you were talking about we don't know what startups are run by who, right? So there's a startup down in the Bay Area, San Jose, called Momentous. They had a Russian oligarch as their CEO for a bit, the founder. And they're like, well, wait a second. This is an American company launching on American rockets with American payloads. And the guy in charge is Russian. Like, that seems like a huge ITAR issue, international trade or treaty and arms
Mhm.
regulations. And so it's like, we can't be putting this intense new technology shit on
Yeah.
on his rockets. And so they nixed him. They went public. They made a bunch of money. They haven't launched anything yet, and they had a missile launch because of that. The political stuff going on, and so now I think he's out in Switzerland, started another space company or something. But I thought that was, I mean, it's exactly what you were talking about. You don't know who runs what for how much if you're just a small company doing a couple things at the moment.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to burn a foreign nation's, resource, death by a thousand paper cuts, it wouldn't have to be a conventional like missile strike and outward active war. It would just be like, yeah, you start a nonprofit shell company and you put your meme sat up and you just, I don't know, you kind of just fuck with it just enough, just to kind of nix the $2 billion spy satellite. Just like even just a little bit. Like that's what you, if anything, just to produce paranoia. Maybe I
Yeah,
need to
that'd
be working
be.
for the CIA and not doing this fucking
I was
podcast.
gonna say this is the first time any of this has ever even been brought up, or like I've ever thought about it. Right?
I had on a guy that Vietnam vet, helicopter pilot, worked in the White House Communications Agency. And the reason why I'm bringing it up again is because we already did this episode like 500 episodes ago. So whatever's out there's out there. But I was just talking about like, what is the security like for that? And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, what all do you do? He's like, well, we bring the podium out, like we put the seal of the president on the podium, like we get all the cameras out. And I'm like, you've got to like scan those big cameras for like shape charges, right? And he was like, yeah, I guess that would be a problem. And I'm in my mind, I'm thinking like, what? Like, well, the
I'm not
presidential
checking
seal, it's
these.
just a big thing. And I'm like, do you check it for like to make sure there's not a hand grenade in there? And he was like, well, no. And I was thinking like, what? Like he did talk about how under Bush Jr. got a new couch and like there was a ton of security he had to go through, like chain of custody, had to go through like x-rays, but just like news course, maybe he was lying, maybe he didn't know. But just little stuff like that, I was like, what do you how's that? I don't know. I play a lot of Hitman and there's always like weird, like it's never just like you shoot them. It's always like something else. Like
Yeah,
you put acid in the soap that reacts with water or something. Like
yeah. You're like doing some weird, completely untraceable
Yeah,
stuff.
it's that in that yeah, the intent being it
They
just
made
looks like an
a
accident.
they made a Hitman movie a while ago, didn't they?
I think
I
so.
remember
I
the
watched it.
games.
I've just been playing the game. I love the game so much.
You play any similar vein of Hitman, Sniper, Ghost Warrior?
I've done like the sniper challenges.
Nah, separate game, dude.
Really
It's called Sniper.
played Sniper Elite.
I think that's one of them.
I like Sniper Elite. But well, yeah, you gotta wonder. Like they've got to be, or maybe there's just like if maybe there's just kind of like marshaling the resources. Like it's probably a one stop or like a one fix all kind of response to that threat would be just no CubeSats hitching rides on any like DoD or NRO launches.
Yeah.
And other than that, it's like it's up to you, fucking whatever, like HBO, if you're putting up a satellite, like that's on you if someone's gonna fuck with your shit.
And that's a really interesting point though. I don't know what sort of checks they do on satellite. It's not like they're
Well,
x-raying them or anything.
well, let's think about it like a much more simple analogy. Would they just let you check your bag onto Air Force One?
No.
No. Why? Because you could do anything. So why would they let you put something in the physical rocket, the thin-skinned, full of God knows how many hundreds of thousands of gallons of hypergolic rocket fuel with a God knows how classified fucking thing on top that,
Yeah.
I mean, if
Well,
that comes
so
like
the launch sites are definitely guarded, strapped down
sure,
hard, right? But I'm thinking about the like,
but getting inside, you just create a 501(c). You just
well, see, I don't want to stop
well,
making
this
meme
is this
sad
is
metaphors, bro.
you're
I
starting to
ain't
get a
being,
little more. You're starting to get a little clammy. You're like, this is a problem.
well, I'm like, no one's gonna launch my satellite if he keeps saying it's a terrorist weapon.
Yeah, the Pornhub intro is not the least of our worries.
Yeah, now I'm gonna get swatted by Bezos or some shit. I don't
Mr.
know.
Carrigan, are you in touch with this man?
My God.
Just
But
a great,
no,
a grainy photo of you.
it is an interesting idea,
That's
right? Like
got to be considered. That has to be considered. If it's not, then consider this
I
one
mean, I'm not
application.
high enough up to understand what they do, but like, I've been to launch facilities and stuff like that, and no one's, I don't know, they don't like pop the lid to your satellite, I don't think, and like check it.
Is this like, are we in the quaint pre 9/11 days right now?
Of
Like
rockets. Well, I'm just
of
thinking
like
there would
of
be
CubeSats of like hitching a free. I remember going
if
up to the
you,
gate with my dad when I was like 7. Just wave
yeah.
dad. No problem.
Well, so I'm thinking about it like maybe there's a good enough paper trail because if you're a company building a satellite, buying a spot on a rocket, you can do it. Someone, I think SpaceX launched like an art thing, like a statue into orbit. They just did it because somebody paid them, right? It's like I don't know what it was made out of. I'm sure it has to be made out of certain materials to like pass by SpaceX requirements. But it's I don't know who checks what. You're just kind of saying you are. And I think the thing on SpaceX on the SpaceX end or some launch provider end to cover their own asses. It's a company. You're getting paid by them, and then like I don't know. I feel like it'd be hard to like falsify a citizenship to make a company to launch on a rocket, right? But I mean,
It's also kind of like a suicide mission, right? I
you
mean,
would
if you
be
did something,
declaring war internationally. If you blow up like James Webb, bro, that you can't.
I mean that'd be the least consequential is if you fucked with James. Imagine fucking with something that no one even knows exists except the people that built it. You won't even be swatted. Your car will just hit a tree. If you go fuck with the NRO or like the NSA, the
Yeah.
agencies that like officially didn't exist for like 3 decades, they'll use the existing satellites to drive your fucking Prius off a bridge. Like
That's crazy to think about. That
that
this
is,
is the
it would
first
be a
time I've heard of
suicide
it.
mission. It'd be a total suicide mission.
See, now you got to have a space because I'm getting nervous because you keep saying
I'm a
it's
little,
chat
I'm a
that's
little,
doing this.
it's not memes. Memesat is
It's
it's an
great.
international olive branch. It is a low orbit dove. Let's go
It's
to
a
space.
charity.
It's a
It's
charity.
for kids. It's for the
It's for
kids.
kids. It's greatness.
But it's, you know, you
But
should get a SpaceX guy on here and stress him out.
stress him out. Stress him out. Give him some gray
Well, you
hair.
should be like, what do you guys? What are the checks and balances?
Well,
I don't know. I do
space.
math and like code. I don't do
Yeah.
real things.
Elon's also the biggest. He also has the largest share of DoD space launches. So I mean, he's got to be cleared 6 ways from Sunday.
But he's South African, right?
That is true.
I mean, I guess he's an American now, I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's such a symbiotic relationship with like you don't get to put up how many Starlinks are up? You don't get to put up thousands of satellites without being cleared. You don't just get to no, it's Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi. No.
No, I mean, it's like, cell signal, bro. It ain't.
I mean, we almost blew up the world because Cuba wanted to put some missiles 90 miles away. Like, you don't get to just put shit directly above us, right?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know, man. Like,
this is well now. It's like
there are people that get like doctorates in policy for this sort of stuff. Yeah. So you gotta find.
Maybe it's considered mutual assured. Like, it's such an open door. Like, I think it was under Eisenhower. One of his top men, Richard Bissell, actually proposed called the overflight policy, and we would just let the Soviets fly their spy planes over us, and we fly ours over them. And it's sort of like a goodwill. Like, you can see everything. Like, we can't possibly shoot you down. It's such an exponential increase to have 100% certainty that you won't fly over. Like, you see us, we see you, and you can verify the claims that like here are the SALT limitations or the START treaties. Ultimately, they didn't do it, so this is a bad example. I think Eisenhower was like, "No, fuck the commies," and we're like, "All right." So that's actually a terrible analogy, but
you had me convinced it was real.
I was convinced myself, but it's got to be a form of like mutual assured destruction. I think Annie Jacobson called it it's like a form of problem. I think the DoD or the Pentagon called it. I think the term is a wicked problem, and it's made in like the 90s. And there's like a couple of them, and one of them is space warfare, because like the least of countries, like the poorest of countries, could set off a chain of space debris that would knock everyone else out. So
yeah, there's treaties where you can't, they do these anti-satellite tests, but I don't think you're able to do like ballistic warfare. You can't, or kinetic, it might be kinetic warfare. No guns and stuff in space. You feel I don't know. There's like a bunch of spy satellites. I don't know what the deal is with everyone.
But even that is like
agreeing not to blow each other up. They blow themselves up. It's like, oh, we can do it if we want to, but
yeah.
Then that's the mutually assured destruction. You blow something up, it's like, well, every country in the world just loses GPS, and a whole bunch of satellites use GPS.
Yeah. So
it's like, well, now none of us have anything, kind of like back to the Stone Ages per se.
Yeah, I mean, but even that, I think the reason it was called like a wicked problem is like because even that is sort of like that's based on logical ground, right? That don't blow it up or we're all fucked. Like, that's a great idea, right? I can say, hey, don't shoot me, but it's like it's much better for me to like be in like a bulletproof like suit and be like, okay, I'm gonna tell you not to shoot me, but it also doesn't matter if you try. Otherwise, it's just like on like a handshake. It's like, hey, China or India, don't do this because it will be bad for everyone.
Or else.
Sounds great, but like one day your back's against the wall and you're Russia and you're just like, fuck it. Tear down the whole stage, tear down the whole light stage. Like, but I know that.
Do you think we're going to hit that point with Russia? I'm completely uneducated on the matter. So all I see are the Reddit headlines saying Putin crazy, bad.
Yeah, I mean, it all sucks. It's a bunch of people dying.
It's war, bro.
This is my theory. I think Putin's already wanted to like escalate, but I think like the top guys around him who aren't like as high in the Kool-Aid are not on. Like they all like kiss ass and they're yes men and you have all the oligarchs.
Yep.
But at a certain point, they're like it's like MacArthur right after World War II when we got ready for Korea. He went to Truman. He was like, I need 50 A bombs to drop on North Korea. And Truman's like, you're fired. Like, I don't give a shit if you're this beloved. Like, what are you fucking high? Like,
Yeah. We can't just level a country.
Yeah. Even Eisenhower pulled back like Patton, and he was like, slow the fuck down. Like, so there is like cooler heads do tend to prevail.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's good. So
no, it is. I think that's probably what it is. I think Putin's probably already like he probably already gave an order in March to like nuke Kyiv, and like his top men are like, no, but he can't like admit that because now that makes him look weak. He's probably right. He's what 70. He said that he's ex KGB. He said the fall of the Soviet Union was the worst day of his life. His life's goal is to restore Russia to its former glory. He has blood cancer. Like, dude, this he probably has absolutely tried to like fire nukes, and they're just not following through.
This is like you ever watch the movie Tenet?
Mm-mm.
The whole plot arcs around this bad guy saying, if I'm going to die, I don't want anyone else to have my wife. So nobody gets there. I'm just going to kill everyone. He's like, I'm going to destroy the world so no one can date my wife. Sort of deal. Which is like, bro, that's kind of, there's a complex in there.
That if the person has the means to blow up the world, you kind of have to negotiate with them. You kind of be like, all right,
Exactly.
how can we ensure no one's
And
going to
so there's this whole covert op, hardcore save the world thing going on. And I wonder if that's like, you get a crazy guy in power. He's got the buttons to push, when even if you tell him no and he's like, okay, sorry, I was cranky.
Yeah.
He's like, well, if dude's on his deathbed, I'll snap. Like Hitler was a crazy dude who was chronically ill, and he did not let up. He's like to the death.
Oh yeah, with the Nero decree, it was a final like 48 hours. He was like, burn down your own homes, and the German people are like, hold up, like
yeah.
no.
They're like, I'm not involved.
But he didn't. Yeah, but he didn't have a button to push, right? So you could but he would have.
Yeah, and I think, oh man, that was so great. They were kids.
Oh, dude, they actually pulled in like 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds to like defend like the Berlin Führer bunker. Like the suits didn't even fit, and they're like defend to the death, and like German artillery just vaporized them. It was awful. I don't mean to like laugh, but like Hitler was willing to do it, and the Soviets were like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Like enemy combatant, like pick up the weapon. I don't care that like you still have like your baby teeth. Like
that's unfortunate.
It's terrible. Like I'm not trying.
No, I know.
They are Nazis, so it's like kind of like okay, I guess.
I mean, but they're
kids. Yeah,
they don't know.
Yeah,
and that's kind of
it's very sad.
There's inherent goodness, and they were being sacrificed because the kids just thought it was the right thing, right? They were told to, and
I mean, the Germans tested their like the successor to the U-boats. There's like some other kind of like smaller submarine that they were gonna try to deploy, and they created this drug called I think D9, and it was a mixture of meth, cocaine, morphine, and something else, and it was supposed to like keep you awake, have no fear, and like be able to operate. And they gave it to these like 10-year-olds, and they put them on these
submarines,
and like they
cracked up a bunch of 10-year-olds and put them on submarines.
But they did it like 10 separate subs, like 2 kids on each. 0 out of 10 return to the surface. So they just drown these kids. They were willing to do that. So
was that all at once? There were like 10 boats go, or were they like
it was like the final? It was like the final like 2 weeks of like the war. They were like trying to test out these. They were really scraping the bottom of the barrel. They're like, all right, these subs are somehow going to save the Reich.
Yeah, like, Germany has a lot of water.
Yeah, but it was, but like, so you got to wonder. But then but this also isn't new, right? The phenomena of what if they just pushed that was the entire Cold War. We managed to get through that. So I think maybe now
and that was Cuba Missile Crisis, right? The whole world almost ended. The Europex, man.
62.
It was a big it was a big thing. And it was just, well, they could push the button. They could say, well, you get a crazy enough guy in charge, you could do it. And it's crazy how recent all these things were, right? This
Yeah.
was like
60 years ago. That's not in the grand scheme of human history. Like,
60
we've
years.
had
Our grandparents were alive. Our
my
parents were
parents were
being
alive.
born.
My parents were 4 years old when that happened. I mean, and then 1983, Able Archer. We did war games
I
to
don't know.
we did a huge war game with NATO about like invading, and it was all public. It's everyone's doing war games, but the Soviets thought that the war game was actually a front for a real attack because it's the perfect disguise. Move a bunch of armament here, but it's just a war game. At the snap of a finger, you could just invade. The Soviets got pretty close to launching their nuclear arsenal. Like, it's argued that they got closer in 1983, and we didn't find out till afterwards. We were like, "Oh shit, sorry about that."
We were
And
just playing games.
we were just playing LOLs. Like, but like with the Cold War, there is the idea of like mutual assured destruction, like submarines, plane dropped, and then silo missile launched. You didn't have like what you have now, where we were always pitted. They're always Soviets and the United States were always pivoting and changing against each other, but for the most part, the balance of power was kept the same, and it was intended to stay the same. Like when we built the Sprint ABM, the anti-ballistic missiles, they were good. We could actually shoot down ICBMs, and we were like, this is destabilizing, because if we start deploying these, the Soviets are going to say, we've got 2 years, because once the United States deploys the system, then they're going to be invulnerable, which would make them more likely to strike, which would make the Soviets more likely to strike because they see us putting up the shield. And we looked
Yeah.
at that and went, it's actually safer for us if we don't put on the Kevlar vest, because the guy with the gun is watching you put the Kevlar vest on. He's going, if I don't kill him now, once he has the vest on, I can't kill him. So
Yeah.
there is a stabilizing aspect. We don't seem to be trying to stabilize right now, which makes me think we have some form of Star Wars, SDI, Strategic Defense Initiative, Reagan's space-based lasers. That's the only logical conclusion I can come up with. We're so clearly like
Yeah. I think
wiping our balls on. Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of stuff in space, man. That's just nobody knows about, just chilling out there.
I mean, who's to say Starlink doesn't have like a double use?
Well, I mean, they're using it for the war, right? They're using
Yeah,
it to get internet in Ukraine, but it's like,
but you could also use those as kill vehicles. I mean, how do we not know that there's not like a simple like gas thruster on every 10th one? And just use it to just slightly move out of orbit and nail an enemy satellite.
yeah.
Just
I mean, they probably do have station keeping thrusters.
yeah, I don't know. It's because as stupid as the people in charge are, I also don't think they're not dumb. So something has shifted in the Cold War doctrine that we're so clearly like, let's
Not
give
worried.
Ukraine all these weapons, let's sanction. Like, there's a reasoning for like our confidence. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 I get that. Not getting involved, but like helping out.
But like very overtly, like you go into like Iraq, and it's like, well, yeah, we're gonna push them around. It's because we can. But it's very weird, like historically, that we would do this to Russia. Like
I
very,
think I'm impressed that it's like in the news, you see, Russians seceding from
yeah,
these areas that they just took over. And so you wonder, it's like, well, what is going on? This is like the big, scary bad guy.
yeah,
How are they not
bulldozing
flattening,
Ukraine.
flattening Ukraine?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing. Not to like destabilize, but like Putin, where are your balls, dude? I thought they're the big bad guys.
They are the big bad guys. And I don't know if they just like aren't going all out, but you hear it's like, oh, there's a draft in Russia. And I'm like, what do you mean the draft? They're huge. They have the big army, right?
Yeah,
They have the big bombs.
they've been, they
And
have
people are talking about like, oh, they ran out of big bombs. And I'm skeptical. What do you mean?
What do you mean Russia ran out of? They still have everything from the Cold War. It's all there.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying they're not going to nuke Ukraine and then be like, this is our new home.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's just you would think that they have a big kind of or like Is expendable the word? Just kind of infinite, bottomless?
Yeah, like just conventional weapons.
Yeah. And it seems like you see in the news that they don't. And it's just kind of like, well, why would they?
Yeah, either they're
It seems
doing
like
like
if you're playing Risk and you have 20 characters on one square and there's like one guy defending the other square, how do your 20 people lose? Like those are some unlucky dice rolls.
yeah. So he's either doing some like Sun Tzu like ultimate like fucking art of war shit,
Rain Ninja.
but that never seems to be the case. I mean, I guess we know how come the United States never just bulldozed Iraq, right? I mean, if you
I
look at
think
our look,
that was like we're not bold. Was it Iraq or Iran after 9/11? Right, we went into
Afghanistan right after 9/11 and then Iraq in 03. But even there, I mean, I get because we look at it and we're like, well, you can't just nuke them, like you, right?
yeah.
Who's maybe that logic's there in Russia? They're like, we can't. I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing. Because any other reason, if you argued why the United States didn't like defeat them in a week, it's because we didn't nuke them. Like, and
I
why
don't
they're
think nuking them shouldn't be the oh we're gonna win. Let's just
or carpet. We didn't even do like full out carpet bombing. The point is like we would argue, right, that the reason we didn't is because there's a drop off in humanity to win, and there's no point in doing it. I don't think we would argue that we were technologically incapable of doing it. So why didn't we? For
I don't
money,
know what they were ever trying. I don't know the whole thing of the Middle East things.
I
I
think it was
can't
probably
say.
just money. I think they probably just keep it going for 20 years. That's probably what it is. Maybe Russia knows that we don't want to push Ukraine completely because, I mean, we just withdrew from the Middle East. All the defense contractors are like making, we're not sending over American soldiers, but they're making a ton of money right now. What, we sent over 78 billion in aid already?
Million or billion?
Billion. We've almost sent $1/10 trillion this year. Like they're probably not too keen on like this ending right away.
I wonder if it's the money thing.
It's like a weird tantric. They're just edging. They're just like, just keep the money flowing. They don't want it. They don't want that nuclear nut. They're edging.
Yeah,
They're no fapping it.
that's interesting. I guess I didn't think about it being a money thing. It's sad to think about that with lives
It's
on the
really
line, right? But
it's dark. But what
I
else
mean, I
would it be?
guess
Why did we?
late stage capitalism.
Yeah, why did we
Money.
drag Vietnam on for 10 years? Nixon wanted to like nuke them, and the general was like, no, 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 because that will just end it. What do you mean? They'll just end it. Yeah. Oh, you don't. Oh, you don't want to end. I mean, you gotta think, man. Yeah, Eisenhower was a 5-star general, supreme Allied commander, and 3 days before he left office, he got on TV and goes, "Hey, by the way, watch out for this military-industrial complex because it's gonna seek influence, warranted and unwarranted, in the halls of like power." Anyways, like it was an honor serving you. Like not like not some like beta dude. Like Dwight Eisenhower. Like
Yeah,
the guys
that
that
is.
like MacArthur and Patton looked up to and said, "Yes, sir." He was like, "Hey, there's this demon." His full speech, he goes, "Beware the technocratic elite that will siphon off scientific resources."
Oh,
Anyways, peace. And then as if to like prove him right, 5 years or 3 years later, JFK tries to leave. She goes, "Hey, let's not send any more advisors to Vietnam," and they pop him in Dallas. So, yeah, what else? Of course, it would be money, and that's really sad. That's really dark. Hmm.
that is sad and dark.
It is, yeah,
We got to end on a light note. We got four
yeah.
minutes. We got to end on a light. I got nothing, bro. You dug it. You dug it
every
deep.
10
I'm like,
every
I
10
don't know
minutes,
about.
every 10 minutes, I look back at the prior 10 minutes and like, oh, that it got worse. One Pornhub, and then like terrorist attacks, and then
You
like
brought up there was the rising action of meme set and charity, and then you're like, but if it was a terrorist weapon, you You had your hand on the wheel, and
you
I'm merely a passenger on this derailing train.
you got you're buckling in like the China and the like the train cars like rattling.
Yeah, dude. By the end of this, I fully expect to be on
You had a
this.
meme set. You had a little model. It says, "Let's go to space,"
Oh, look at how cute. We go to classrooms and
and
talk
it
to kids about
ends with
how great
It
space
ends with
is.
the Zapruder film of JFK. Boom. Um,
Well, Godspeed and God bless all those people in Ukraine
yeah,
and the Russians that don't want to be there.
yeah, yeah. Aren't like didn't Putin like ban domestic flights from being sold to like men 18 to 60? Like you can't buy like a flight. That's a good sign.
Jeez Louise. I don't know what the borders look like if people are able to just drive across or what the deal is. I imagine it's not a US Canada situation.
I mean, maybe we could tie this into like CubeSats. I would imagine that the world is too hyper connected that you probably have powers that might not formally work with one another. You probably have not back channel communications between China and the US and India and Pakistan and like, hey, like we can't let Putin do this shit. Like we can't let him just start because then we're all fucked. You
Yeah.
probably do have that. I would imagine you probably have American and Chinese intelligence working together with like Russian intelligence. You probably have defectors from within the KGB or the what is it, the GRU, probably within the inner circles.
I that's Man, I
Because
can tell the
you nucleate
podcast has elevated you because I never thought about any of that. I don't know if we're giving the US government too much credit for being super savvy with like there's the foreign advisors and diplomats and stuff. But you think
well
they're
drawing
like
on the Cuban Missile Crisis is like so what
you
I'm
think it's
saying right
born?
now. Well, so what I'm saying right now isn't like an idea. It's like historically it has happened. You had pretty much the American military, the Joint Chiefs, and the Soviet equivalent pretty much iced each other out. Uh, Khrushchev and Kennedy both later said in their own like private like journal entries that they didn't think that they were communicating with one another. Like, so I send a message, I'm Kennedy, I send a message, and Khrushchev sends a message back. Kennedy's like, I don't think that's Khrushchev. I think that's the top military guys talking as Khrushchev. Like almost like you get on your buddy's AOL and you're in like middle school. You're like,
And you're
hey,
like, oh, this is Tommy on.
I'm Tommy, but yeah. And at the same time, Khrushchev was like, I didn't think I was talking with Kennedy. Well, Bobby Kennedy, like literally like some true like James Bond shit, like drove to like I think there's like a third like like the Turkish embassy or something, and
Mhm.
like hand wrote a letter to like a middleman that then like wrote it to like a friend who like could pass it to Khrushchev, and that's how they agreed on taking the missiles out of Turkey, the Jupiter missiles, and then that's why like hey Khrushchev, how about you back down from Cuba and we'll do this. Just we won't say it publicly. You don't say it publicly. We can both save face. That did happen. So like
Crazy.
I would imagine there's probably something going on.
Interesting.
We're
Yeah,
probably
that would
off.
make sense.
We're probably offering like asylum to like Russian oligarchs or something who still are somewhat involved. Like, hey, just give us a heads up if it looks like things are like going south.
Yeah,
Well,
that's crazy.
that's as positive a note as I can try to wrap it up.
Tommy's
Well,
podcast,
hey,
episode 935.
Pornhub, snuff films, and nuclear weapons, and Warren's not a terrorist.
That was convincing. Thanks.
That was very convincing. When is it gonna? When? So what? Fall 2023.
Yeah, we're looking October 2023. Going up, beaming memes, bro. That's
It's
the
actually gonna
hope.
happen.
I want to say it's actually going to happen.
That's fucking absurd.
It's taken way longer than I would have thought, but God, man, let me tell you, it haunts every waking moment of me. I go to work and one of the meme set kids will text me. Oh God.
I
But
think
I'm here for it. We're doing it. It's going down.
I think you said this to me like 2 years ago. You were like rubbing your eyes on a podcast. You're like, this stupid fucking CubeSat. You're like, I hate everything about this.
It was good. It's a good lesson. It
Hey,
still
listen,
is.
I love the podcast. There are days where I want to burn the hard drives and never do it again. Or I'm just like, I fucking hate this thing. I hate emailing people.
But you're doing it. You're going nonstop. You're not
Just
working at the liquor store right now, right?
fuck yeah, I'm not. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You worked at a liquor store when I worked at a liquor store.
Dude, I felt connected to you. I would
Those were,
stack some Henny and I'd be like, I feel Tommy in me
dude,
right now.
that was a dark time.
Yeah, I was living in my parents'
I
basement.
was living up above my parents' garage. I forgot about that.
Here we are, bro.
We made it.
I remember getting on with you, man. Just like, we're on the grind. We're gonna do it.
It's
and it'll
gonna.
happen.
That is a positive note, and it did. It kind of worked.
What would Future say from the gutter?
Is Future still alive?
Yes.
I hope so.
Pretty sure he won a Grammy.
Yeah. Sure.
Not like, oh wait. This will be the positive note we end on.
All right. What if Future was just killed?
Yeah, dude. Nominated for Album of the Year at 2017 Grammys.
2017. Well, he could be dead.
No, Future's still alive. There's
All
no
right.
way Future's dead. Don't put. We can't end it on me finding out Future.
Please God be Future.
Is Future dead or alive?
Future dead after private plane struck by decaying orbit CubeSat.
Yeah. No. None of that. It has to burn up an atmosphere, bro. That's another thing. That's an FCC thing.
But even that, it's like, or what?
What do you mean, or what? I don't know. You go to space pirate prison. Who knows?
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's something where they could fine you after. But I mean, while it's burning up, are they gonna be like, it's burning up, and you're gonna be like, all right, it's like a terminal velocity, like in the upper atmosphere. Like, what do you want me to do about it?
No, it's supposed to burn up. It's supposed to like disintegrate.
Yeah. This podcast might have weakened the chances of this thing launching.
I know. I thought about that.
We can sit on this episode if you'd like. I can just put it aside if you want to like think on it. I'm not even kidding. If you're concerned about like the final stretch of meme set,
yeah, let me get a contract. Let me get a launch contract and the FCC approval before this hits air.
Do you want me to just put this aside?
Yeah, let's table it.
I'll 100% put this aside and just won't do an episode today.
Aren't you talking to a guy in like an hour?
No, that guy canceled. And the guy before canceled.
Jesus. Who were they going to be?
Oh, just friends of mine. Would you like me to not upload this? Or do you want me to just fire away and not be a pussy about it?
Let's hold off for like a month.
Okay.
Because I'm talking to a launch provider now. We got an NDA.
If they haven't caught the early episodes, then they're probably not going to catch those. But no need to disturb sleeping dogs.
This one, I promise you, after we're contracted to launch, send it fully.
When's the contract? When do you think?
It'll be before end of year.
All right. Well, here I'll text you a month from today.
Okay.
And I'm not. If you want, I'm being dead serious. I'll just put this on the external. It'll just be an episode.
Just hang out for a bit. Yeah, no, that'd be nice.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm not trying to fucking tank here.
But it's always great to hang out, Tommy. I'm glad you're doing well. What's your situation looking like these days?
Well, hold on.